Hey, this is Chris, Liege Games. Let's talk level 99 games. Let's talk Bullet. Now, if you're not familiar with level 99 games or Bullet, Bullet is a real-time strategy shoot 'em up type game where you can play solo, cooperative, or even competitive. And it's a very interesting premise because you don't see real time used that often. Now, it says that it takes about 15 minutes per game. The rules overhead is very low weight and should be able to be grasped by most people. But does it? Does it fulfill all of those things? Spoilers, yes. Yes, it does. So, what do you need to know about Bullet? What's going to make it of interest to you? Or what's going to turn you off about it in the fact that you might not want it at all in the first place? Well, for starters, let me show you a little bit of how to play and a little bit of what a sample round looks like, and then I'll come back and tell you the positives and the negatives. This is the basic setup for your character on Bullet. Now, this is my personal favorite character, and so this is the one I'm going to use for the gameplay run-through example here. So this is Young Ja Kim. So what you have here is your basic character card, which lays out what character it is, how many health they have, and the special rules that each character has governing the use of their bullets or their patterns. Then you have the generic playboard where you're going to be placing these bullets. And you can see here at the bottom, the arrows indicate that if a bullet cannot be placed or if a bullet has to be moved down here, it then goes directly over here, covers up one of the life points that you have. If you ever have all life points filled, you lose. Then on the right side, you have your special board where you have your special abilities, where you're also going to be getting special one-time use power-ups, these green cards at the top here, to be placed in the empty slots. Many of them are one-time use, so you play them, you have them there, and when they get used, they are then discarded. We'll talk about that in a minute. So what you're going to be doing is, at the beginning of your turn, you're going to be doing a series of events to get yourself set up. The very beginning is the intensity tracker. This is how many bullets you are going to be drawing new from the white bag between rounds, because the bag has all of these said multicolored bullets. Now, that's important because what you're doing with that at the beginning of your turn, before the actual gameplay, is you're taking your black bag here, and you are putting 10 bullets in to start off with at the beginning of the game. And so I've already done that. I've got my 10 various ones in here ready to be pulled from. This is the bag on your turn you are pulling from. You are going to be putting ones from the intensity into the bag each time. However, players, when you go PvP, you are going to be getting bullets from the incoming stack here as other players clear bullets off of their board using their patterns, which I'll talk about and show here in a minute. Then they go into their pile in front of their deck or wherever you're going to put them on the board, and then they come over and they are part of the incoming ones that are going to be going in this bag alongside the intensity ones that are given to every player equally per round. So you're going to be getting them from two different sources. Now, how are you going to be clearing them? This is where the unique mechanisms of each character come into play. This is Young Ja Kim, and so you get this deck of 8 different cards. And so what you're doing on the beginning of your turn is you are drawing 3 of these cards, and these are the patterns that you will be getting each round. And so these are the ones that you're going to have as one-time use to be able to play during that round. And to be able to play them is free, but in order to be able to play them, you're going to have the correct setup for this. And so oftentimes that's where this ability board comes in handy. And you can see right here, this starts at 7. This is the energy. This is allowing you to do said actions. These actions are in the upper left-hand corner, and you can see most of these are similar or if not the same between boards, but there's a little bit of nuance too. Discard a pattern to draw a new one, move a bullet 1 space as indicated by an arrow. Your next pattern's requirements become any bullet and just gain an action point. This star is on some of the bullets. You'll notice when I pull some of these bullets here, you can see just a regular sort of fire token. But then also, you'll see ones with numbers with stars on them. Those stars will allow you to use this action to get more action points back up to be able to do some of these other actions. So it's allowing you to basically recharge during your turn. And then this is where the cards come in. So you can see this card, for example. I have to have a bullet right here, and then I can move 3 bullets that are in the row in position like this, not rotated, not turned around, not mirrored, but in this position, moving up. Now, Youngja Kim's special ability is I get rid of bullets not by destroying them like many of the other players. I have to push them off of either the top, the left, or the right side of the board to destroy them. All of her cards move them in a direction. So for example, I have to have any 3 in a column here, and I can move all of those to the right. And the special ability, the levitation, says that, okay, if there are ones to the right, it's just sort of chaining them and pushing everything in that direction then one space. If there are ones in the way that are blocking it that do not allow it to move otherwise. So that is how I manipulate my board on that turn. So this is also a very fast game when you play it, especially PvP. Now, PvP, what you're doing is you are ending up passing your incoming to another player in a clockwise manner. And that then plays into it is sometimes the difficulty is dependent on the skill of the player that's passing you their bullets. So won't talk about that much more. But so for example, like I said, this is a relatively quick game because after your first game, which they recommend no timer, they recommend setting a timer on the second game and on once you get used to how these patterns work and saying each round is only 3 minutes. Now, 3 minutes may sound like a short time. It may sound like a long time depending on how good you are with this. And during that time, you are just pulling as many or all of the bullets from here. Now, the trick is if you're kind of going, okay, well, if I can just slow my roll, timer will run out. Well, if the timer runs out, that means you still have to pull any bullets that are left in here, but you don't get to use any powers or any mitigations or any plans. You just have to pull and put. The last thing you need to know is sometimes what you're doing is you're counting down with the bullets here, and I'll show you an example. So let's say a timer starts, I start pulling these. So 4, this is how you're doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're counting empty spaces in a column. So it doesn't matter if there's already bullets in there, and that is how they get to the bottom. So green 3, here you can go, you can see the star there. And so you start pulling until you get a little bit full up, or you get a little bit of positioning that you can do. So here you go, green 3 again, 1, 2, now 3. There you go, you see the difference there. Blue 4 again, I've drawn, this is completely random, and look at this. Okay, so green 1. Now here's the trick, is once you pull it, you have to place it. You can't pull it, then decide to use these plans in order to miss getting hit down here and having it go down here. So if I was to draw a blue 5 right now, I would be getting hit because I can't stop it once I pull it. I don't have any of this one yet, but I do have just a bullet here, and I could move, for example, this one, I can move the row right here, or this one maybe I can move the row right here and bump it up. But that doesn't really help me right now because none of those are really at a point where they're going to be able to be pushed off. So I would maybe want to get, these 2 over to here potentially. But the only way I could do that is I could use this bullet over by 1 space. But if I wanted to move each of these over 2 spaces, that would be 8 action points. And I only have 7 right now. So that really wouldn't help me either. So again, 1, 2. Okay, see, there we go. Now, if I wanted to, say, spend 4 action points, moving it down to 3, moving this thing over, then playing this pattern, putting it in my discard pile over here, I would be able to move all 3 of these bullets 1 space to the right, which would knock them off the board, which then I can put up here to remind me that these are the bullets that I'm sending to the next player. So now I've cleared a bunch of space, and really the blue 5 is really the only thing I'm worrying about, and I'm just going to keep pulling. Okay, red 1, and unless I'm pulling something bad here at the end, I'm pretty safe. Uh-oh, blue's getting kind of full. Oh, lucked out here. Blue 1. So again, I could take a look. Now this actually, there you go. I could use another plan here This one works out perfectly. I didn't actually plan this, guys. This is completely random pull. But here you go. I play this plan. I target this one. It pushes all 3 of these up. Boom, boom, boom. I've now got 6 bullets of my 10 going to the other person. And so if I did nothing else this round, they would be getting at least 5 plus my 6 that they're going to get on their board. And if they were unable to clear a bunch, they're going to have this board already sort of filled up. Now, in theory, did I get any stars here? Let's check. Okay, I got 1 star. So I'd have 1 star ability. So I could use that star to get an action point. And nope, no others. So I have 4. So in theory, if I wanted to, I could spend 2 action points. I could spend all 4 action points even to move this one here and this one off twice. And then I'd have that one there. I'd be down to 0 action. I'd get a star point to get 1 action back. And then let's say, you know what? I don't really like this one. Let's discard it and draw another one. Use my last action point to do this ability. So now, do I have a way I could use this? Yes, I do. And the reason I would consider doing this is because you draw back up to 3 patterns at the beginning of the new round. So if I play this one right here, then I'm moving this one up here and I'm moving this one over. So hopefully, again, trying to get myself some space, and then already only having this one away from being able to be pushed off the board again. Then, if I am the first one out, let's say I'm playing with 4 people, I'm going to have these action tiles sitting here, and I'm going to be able to pick which action tile I want. Move a bullet to any space, move a bullet to any space, draw another pattern, and swap 2 bullets in your sight. Swapping doesn't do me as much good as it does with other people, so I would probably do either draw a pattern or move a bullet to any space. So you know what, I like the pattern usage here, so patterns are really easy to use for Youngja Kim. So I would take this one, it would go here, and now you'll notice the X in the upper corner, and that means it's discarded when I play it. Now at the end of the round, I'm going to be passing these, now 7 bullets, to someone else. If anyone is eliminated, then this count also goes up by 1 for each person that's eliminated. So it's at 5 if no one's eliminated. Then other people would be grabbing these, and so those would go away. You'd draw a couple more of these out. You'd put them out. You'd get set up back up to 7. You would draw your 5 from the bag here. Then any that are incoming, that also would be put in your now empty black bag, and then rinse and repeat. That is the basic PvP, but also just how you're going to be playing in any mode in general. Okay, so now that we've seen a little bit of what it looks like and how it plays, now imagine that you have half a dozen of those same characters that are all manipulating those bullets in different ways. So the asymmetry is there. So now that we've seen what an actual sample round looks like and what you're doing and how you're laying these bullets and how you're using your powers to mitigate things, combine that with the real-time element. Now, does that appeal to you or not? Now, again, just like the game says, unless you have some serious analysis paralysis, that 3 minutes is more than enough to sort of last you, but also not seem like it goes on forever. But it is a nice timer, both literal and figurative, because it keeps the game going and moving. Now, one positive is just that, is the asymmetry that is in the game, the characters. When we played it, we wanted to just stay with the same character. You know how sometimes you just want to switch it up and kind of see what everyone else can do? Well, in this case, we said, okay, I've played this once or twice with the same character. Now, let me see what I can really do. So it makes you want to play repeatedly with the same person to see how well you can manage compared to other people. Sort of like if Villainous gave you a lot more control and was done in a real-time manner. But that's the closest comparison that I can see of where you want to stay with the same character to see how well you can mitigate and how well you can do things on a game-by-game basis. Now, one obvious divider is real-time. So I'm not going to talk about that. But I'm going to say if you have any doubts or any questions, or even if you haven't liked it before, it's worth trying because it is definitely different than the other real-time games I have played. Something else that you just need to be aware of in this game, and this is going to be something that is worth trying, but it may also just be a make it or break it for you as well. When you're trying to make one of these patterns, for example, there is a large spatial abstract element. And so you have to be able to be a little bit visual and a little bit spatial in a way that not a lot of other games necessarily replicate or duplicate. Because unlike the character that I used in the gameplay example where you're just pushing stuff off, a lot of times these other ones, they need something special. They need a green one in the center. Or they need certain numbers arranged. And so that is more of the spatial thing that you just need to be aware of. Another example. And you may like that, you may not like that, but that therein ties it back to the point earlier of having the significant asymmetry between the players so you can find one that suits your style. Blessing and Curse also, Level 99 Games has also announced the orange expansion for Bullet, which is offering several more characters, more asymmetry. Now, I haven't even gone into the other side of things that you can play as solo, or you can do competitive, or you can do the other mode that I did not mention, cooperative against a boss. Again, with the amount of stuff that they gave you and the amount of stuff that you can do, it's great. And I just like the competitive. But the cooperative, as a person who loves hard co-op, with this mechanism, this is a very, very unique mechanism again. You will not see this mechanism duplicated in any other game. So if you're looking for something that is unique, Level 99, again, with their games, hits it out of the park. Now, one other thing I've heard, though, is a couple people commented online that another producer, publisher, distributor, whoever made some of the overseas stuff, the component quality varies between that and Level 99 Games'. For example, these black bags that you're holding your bullets in, I guess one of the other versions, these bags are embroidered or have logos on them are just nicer. And same thing with the other components. Now, don't get me wrong. These bullets, these wooden bullets, pew, 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 they're very nice. Is that all that you need in a game? Now, I will say, again, I'm not a big fan of the deluxifications in these games. This one, I think, works very well because it's not overly deluxified. I would not want to use the cardboard now that I have used the wooden. And again, take that for what you will, because I'm not sure how widely available the wooden is going to be at retail. One other thing I'll say is, and with a lot of these rule books, the terminology is a little bit too deep. I mean, once you start playing it, once you start forcing your way through it, the learning curve is relatively easy. But the rule book and the terminology, they're using a lot of additional terms that I think could have just been a little bit more straightforward. Again, minor nuance, minor nitpick. Another positive, I like the fact that you have the boss side and then the individual character side all on one card. It just makes playing it really straightforward in terms of lining up those player boards. One thing, though, that people, again, are not going to like, because you are just randomly drawing bullets. There are times that I've had in this game that you just pull the wrong bullets. I mean, I think the last game we played, I had all of my bullets for my life points be number 5s, right? And I guess, again, if you just pull more of those from the center bag, you're a little bit more SOL than somebody else. So there is that little bit of randomness or luck that you may not be able to mitigate as much. But at the same time, now having played it, if I see 5s on my board, I am going to be aggressively trying to manipulate them more than I did previously. But there is still that randomness that if you don't want that, it is not going to be just as purely tactical and strategic as it could be otherwise, because you're getting asymmetric numbers and colors between the players. But also, that's where part of the fun is. The chaos of it. And that's another reason I like it. Because again, it really does play that quick and you just boom, 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 play another round. Rinse and repeat. So all in all, what do I think? Where does this fall? How is this going to be viewed? I got the Kickstarter version with the deluxe. Like I said, very happy with it. Would not want to play with just the cardboard ones, having experienced the wooden ones. This is probably going to be, and I know this is early to say this, but I feel this strongly about it, it's going to be one of my top 10 games of 2021. So clearly it is going to be a 5 out of 5 staying in my collection for as long as I can see in the foreseeable future. And that probably means that I will be picking up the one expansion that is known and being released later this year, but there is a second one in the works as well, rumors have it. So, that's what I think of Bullet. That's how I feel about it. What do you think? Have you tried it? Have you played it? Does this intrigue you? Does this now just completely turn you off hearing about it or seeing it in action? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you feel. Either way, thanks for taking the time to watch. Check me out. If you feel like it, hit the subscribe. As always, stay classy. I'll see you around.